All right. Hello. There's more people here that I don't know. Allah. Look at that. How do I share? Is that right? Now we're good? Okay. Who are new faces? There's new people. What are your names? I know you from somewhere. Yeah. You look familiar to me from somewhere. Maybe I've given a talk at a church where I don't know. Who knows? Clara? Hello, Clara. How are you? Good. What's your name? Gloria. I'm Tamer. I didn't bring any extra sheets today for you to write their names down. I'm ill prepared, but that's okay. Welcome. Anyone else here who's new that I don't know? Clara and I'm going to forget. This is why I have name tags. Everyone else here has been here before? Everyone has their name tags with them? Not that's okay. All right. This is our last class together. We're going to do a bunch of things. We'll have some fun. And we're looking to finish around, well, between 5:30 and 6. That's the hope. We have to finish before 6 for sure. But we'll play it by ear because we have some activities we want to do. And we'll end, around that time. There's lots of readings to do. And does anyone, I didn't give I didn't give any names, but anyone from the readings, anyone want to share anything from the readings at all that we did over the last week? There was a lot. I don't know if anyone has anything to share at all. If not, that's okay. All right, let's just do some review. Hold on one sec. My tech is not working. Hang on a second. It worked last week. One sec, guys. If it doesn't work, I just do it old-fashioned style. Okay, this is not working. That's all right. We'll do it old school. Wait. Okay, there, got it. So, what's the purpose of youth ministry? What's the purpose? What's our purpose? Make disciples. Excellent, excellent. What are the 5 practices? Come on, worship, prayer, fellowship, mission, teaching. Good, look at you guys remembering things. Amazing. All right. What are the essential activities? We talked about this last week with the essential activities and what are we doing? And we spent some time talking about vision, aims, and strategies. And we talked about different aims to get to our visions, and our visions get us to our mission. Okay, what's our mission? Make disciples. And our vision is more than one vision, but the visions are what takes us to the idea of making disciples. What does my youth ministry have to have in it to help me make disciples? Right? What are some important things that have to have? And we did one last week on last week was about being physically fit, right? What if it was our youth will have a strong knowledge and understanding of the Bible? If that's one of our vision statements, all right? I'm going to give you 5 minutes, talk to the person beside you, give me an aim, some strategies on how we can make that one of our visions. Our youth will have a strong knowledge and understanding of the Bible. 5 minutes, go. Someone beside you, you can share. Oh yes. Oh, it's yes. Okay. Okay. The people at home. Okay, as long as they know and they can like, I want them to actually answer this as well. So like, you make sure that they're involved, and then I'll ask them as well. All right. You there? Everything's good. I give them a task. So the ones at home, make sure that they're doing it as well. They're trying to. Like, so what are some aims and strategies? So. Oh, yeah, you can put it there. Why are you all the way back here? Move closer, so far back. So, jeez. All the problem children sit in the back of the class. I understand. You're not problem children. But you can, yeah, you can be fine back here. If you, how, you're trying to, or to charge it? Oh, I should take power from here, man, or the A. Then you can plug it in, shoot it off, the power bar there. That should work too. Yeah, either way, it's charging here too. That'll be faster probably. Please. Okay, you guys done? Some ideas? Okay. Okay, wrap up. I'll give you, just finish your thought, then we'll have a quick discussion. Okay. All right. Let's start. Let's start over here. So give us a an aim and maybe a strategy. I'm gonna close the door. Nice and loud. Keep going.
So you have to read like half a chapter of this book by next week. And then write a few verses down on paper, and we'll go over it as a class. We'll go over what you read in the class and analyze it. And the second thing will be memorization. Memorizing like important verses, so and giving a sense of that what you memorize these verses will give you a prize, or give like examples of things that per class out of the class like formed into a song that was memorized with the speech and again and again. So the third thing would be application of the verse. So the
Good one.
game so really giving it a strong foundation. So challenge them. So take a verse, for example, say it's a verse like charity, for example. Spirit, like the spirit is gentle, the spirit is kind, it's loving. So challenge them to do something that reflects that. Like maybe say a kind word to a friend who's feeling down, or give your mom a cup of water, or maybe give someone. Maybe you see someone struggling in the street, give them like some, maybe give them a toonie or something, give them $5 or some whatever. Donate something maybe to the church or someone you see in need. So challenge them to really apply the verse that they've learned in their own life, so that it's really grounded in their soul. Yeah.
You guys ask for one, you gave me three, so you guys are above already. Okay, this group. At least one aim in the strategy. Do you have anything?
I think we thought of one aim could be that the youth in our group or in ministry would be encouraged to read the Bible as one aim. And our strategy would be to create a reward system to read the Bible, set up time for group reading of the Bible.
So by encouragement, okay?
Well, personally, like I find it more beneficial for me when I'm able to prepare a Bible study. So like having the students take turns and working together to prepare their own Bible study, like picking a story that they don't know or picking like a passage that really speaks to them. And also another fun thing we used to do for like New Year's and like dinners or like Bible trivias. So having like games with questions, maybe like Jeopardies with, again, a reward system, because that's when the kids are most motivated, we think would also help the kids with the Bible.
Amazing. That's very good. Thank you.
Our first proposal?
Yeah.
We said it's important to have an understanding of the Old Testament and the New Testament. So finding ways to build a connection between the two. So our strategy was to just make sure that we understand first the Old Testament, understand the New Testament, and then maybe come up with activities for them to sort of make those connections. Like just put, I don't know, sorry, we didn't go beyond that, but
You're both, we're going to talk about games and Old Testament later, so remind me. All right? You're both stealing things that I'm going to be doing later on. But it's good. I like it. Excellent. Friends in the back.
So we spoke about a couple of different things. First of all, us as servants understanding it and being anchored in the word and knowing how to apply it. But then also one of the strategies we thought about was being able to challenge them in a way. So like doing any sort of like Bible trivia, any sort of Jeopardy, any sort of like games or challenges that get them to like think and like actually be hooked into the lesson to be able to answer questions after and maybe having some sort of reward at the end. I think that would get them very interested and motivated to like learn more about it.
Amazing, thank you. So the idea of motivation is important, right? So motivating kids to read the Bible. And is it okay to have a reward system? Is that all right? To reward them to read the Bible? Is that okay to do? Or should they just do it on their own? Do we have to reward them? What do you think? Does it dilute it if you're rewarding them to read the Bible? Absolutely not. Thank you. Good answer. No. Reward them, right? As they're young, even as they get older. I'll tell you that grade 1, grade 2, grade 3 love rewards. Grade 10, 11, 12 love it more. Understand. Give grade 12 a little chocolate bar for an answer, they will love you all day, right? It's never too old to reward kids for doing something, all right? They'll love it, all right? Never stop. Always have rewards for kids. I say that I didn't bring rewards with me for today, and I should have. I was in here last time and I didn't. I'm a bad servant. I apologize. But yeah, we should have rewards always for, not always, but it's not a bad idea to have rewards. Like don't think it's wrong to reward, right? Because with time they will go into it and they will love it, but it doesn't hurt to help them along the way. Absolutely. All right. Thank you. So again, this is a great idea for a servant retreat or something, just to help us again direct our service, right? What are some strategies? What are some visions? What are some aims? What are some strategies that we can do as a servant group to help bring our children forward to make disciples, right? It is a good practice to do, and it helps guide our service and helps our planning of our curriculum. All right, super important. Recreation. This is, I think, yeah, chapter 7 in youth ministry planning. And this talks basically, it talks about three of our tasks that we do. Sorry, three of our, can I go backwards? Sorry, something's, oh, here we go. So three of our practices, the book capitalizes on, and it says teaching, fellowship, and mission are great things we can teach through recreation. All right. The idea of recreation tends to break down barriers, right? We talked a few weeks ago about who's in your class, and we showed that pyramid, right? The coming, the committed, the commissioned. Oh boy, coming. Remind me. There's 4 of them. Commissioned. Pardon? Community, yeah. Community, coming, committed, and commissioned, right? Recreation hits all of those, right? People who haven't come very often, right? If it's something recreational, it tends to get them involved, and it's known to break down barriers, right? And it gets the kids involved, and it gets them to help build a friend group that happens much easier than in a class, right? And there's different things you can do in recreation. Like there is the sports, there is the like group activities. Page 98 talks about recreation through games, right? And it actually talks about recreation through TV shows, right? TV game shows. And oddly enough, someone made reference to this, and we're going to do it. We're going to play some Jeopardy. What do you think? Jeopardy? Or my screen, I can't do audio, can I? Or can I do audio from my computer? Oh, here we go. You lost the screen? You did? Okay, let me share my other screen with you. We're gonna play some Jeopardy. I'm gonna put you in groups. 1, 2, we're gonna play for 15 minutes, maybe 10. We'll see how long it takes. The groups that are home, if they, how many are at home right now? Yeah, 9. Can maybe one group? Okay, so what we'll do is we'll take turns. I'm going to share my screen so they can see what we're seeing here. Give me 1 second here. Ministry, I'm going to stop sharing I'm going to share the screen now. Share. Can you see it? Play from start. Wrong screen? Is it the wrong screen again? Pardon? Sorry, I keep saying the wrong screen. I'm not good at this. Stop share. Share. Microsoft. Let's try this one. Is that the right one? What was happening? Share. Yeah, look, desktop too? You should have try that one? Let's try this one. Oh, that's the right one? How is that desktop too? I don't understand. Doesn't matter. Okay, play from start. Why isn't it playing now? Oh, did I have audio? I guess there's no audio now, right? It's playing the audio there. Where's the audio? Where's my audio? But it isn't. Fine, we'll play without audio. I don't know what's going on. I don't waste time. Okay, today's categories. Here we go. There's Old Testament characters, Moses, miracles, Revelation, the Synaxarium. Who does not know how to play Jeopardy? Who has never played Jeopardy before? Never. Okay, it's very simple. It's skills. So we talked earlier on about learning about the Bible. Here's a way, right? It's a fun way to read the Bible. I have a template. I can put it in the chat. And you can take the template and you can fill whatever you want, right? So I'll give you the template if you want to try it. All right. And the sacraments. So those are the categories. All right. The way it works is you bet a certain amount. Well, I don't know why 400 is extra. That's okay. So we're going to do group of 3, group of 4, group of 3, group of 4, and group of 9. All right. Got it? We want to take one or two turns each. You're in, so it's group 1, group 2, group 3 is a small group. That's okay, it's 2 of you. Group 4, yep. Okay, so, and it's supposed to be that it's supposed to be that the higher the value, the harder the question. It's supposed to be. All right? Okay, you guys first. Pick one. Sacraments? How much? 300. Sacraments 300. Here's your question. The order of priesthood is the only one This order of priesthood is the only one that can ordain others. Which order of priesthood? There's different levels of priesthood. This order of priesthood is the only one that can ordain others. That can ordain other priests, I'll say. There should be. I'll set a 30-second timer. Here we go. You're getting a little bit of an advantage. I'm setting it from now. Is that your final answer? What is bishop? Hey, you got it. Okay, keep your own score. Good job. All right. Okay, let me go back home just so you know how to play. Go back home. So you should keep going, but we're not going to do that. We're going to go to the next group. Right? If you got it right, you're supposed to keep going. But we're not. Next group, go. You're going hard. Okay. Old Testament 500. Old Testament characters, right? Okay. Original name of the man who Melchizedek appeared to. The original name. Abraham? What is Abram? Has to be in the form of a question. What is Abram? Thank you. Is it with 2 A's? No, they said Abram. They said Abram. I listened carefully. They said Abram. I think it might be written with 2 A's sometimes. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be 2 A's or not, but it's Abram. You are right. Okay, go home for the next. Okay, keep your scores, you guys.
Let's do miracles for 500.
Wow, you guys are all going hard. Okay, here we go. After stepping onto the water with Jesus, this caused Peter to fall in.
What is fear?
Oh, let me check with the judges on this. Is that your final answer? It's true. Peter took his eyes off of Jesus and noticed the storm. Fear work? Nah, we'll give it to you. I don't know if I would all the time, but yeah, he did because the story says in the biblical reference it says he took his eyes off and it says he looked away, right? You could just see this. I want to give it to them. I'm in a good mood today. I'm not sure if I usually would. I might not usually, but there you go. I'll give it to you this time. All right. But the 4+ answer is he took his eyes off of Christ. The correct answer is he took his eyes off of Christ. Keep that in mind, all right? Guys in the back. Good one. So, okay, all righty, here we go. The submersion of a person into the water represents this. Oh, I didn't set I'm not using my timer. Hold on. I gotta do my timer. I'm gonna give you another 15 seconds. Nope. What does it represent? The submersion of a person into the water represents this. What does it represent? Time's up. Pardon? Death? The answer is, what is dying with Christ? We will take it. I'll accept it. All right? Okay. All right. Hi, Abuna. You want to come play Jeopardy, Abuna, with us? We're playing Jeopardy. No, it's okay. All right. One more. Oh, yeah, guys at home. Online friends. Hold on, let me show the screen. Do they have a choice? What do they want to do? Okay, do they have someone who's going to lead the group? What do they want to do? Call the name. Oh, Revelation 400. Okay, I'm not sure they're going to confer with each other, but they can. Okay, Revelation 400, here's your question. This animal opened the scroll. It's an easy one. Do they have an answer? Yeah, 30 seconds. Hold on a second. What is the lamb? What is the lamb? These questions are, yes, good job. I have a few here. This is for one of my younger kids groups, but it's okay. All right, one more time each. Then move on. Okay, one more. Moses. Go big or go home. What do you say? No, you decide. 500. Okay. Moses raised this into the air to heal the Israelites in the desert. Yep, that sounds right. Moses raised this into the air to heal the Israelites in the desert. Oh, timer. Wrong. Sorry. Anyone want to steal? Good. What is the bronze snake? Right? Yes. It connects. No, it's right. Yes, wrong. No, it's right. What is it? Remember he held it up when they were poisoned, and he held it up. And those of us that are Egyptian, that is from the pharmacy symbol. By the way, anyone? There's a few pharmacies. The pharmacy symbol is the staff of Moses, by the way. Just so you know, little connection. Okay, so by the way, you stole that, so you get that amount. You can add it to your amount. And it's your turn now. What do you guys say? 6 a.m. 6 a.m. 500? Okay, here's your question. So the daily double works is you can, how much do you own? How much money do you have right now? You have 900? So you can bet up to 1,000. So right now it's worth 500, right? You can bet up to 1,000. You want to bet the whole 1,000? You want to bet 500 or any you can bet as much as you want. But you lose it all if you get it wrong. It's between, you can do anywhere between 0 and 1,000. But 1,000. Here's your question. Here you go. This same helped her father achieve martyrdom. That's your answer, Carlos? Just like that?
Okay, fine, I trust her.
Yeah. Good answer. Good one. Wow, that was fast. You're amazing. Okay, I think we may have that. Yeah, you go. Yes. Go ahead. Revelation 500. Here you go. This is the number of seals on the scroll. Is your final answer? Yeah, 7 seals. Excellent. All right, good job. Guys in the back. Moses 400. This is the reason God permitted Aaron to help Moses. Oh, my timer.
Because he was old and he started.
Because, pardon?
Old and he started.
Speech impediment, yes. Good job. Good answer. All right. And friends at home, do they want to choose one? Yeah. Anyone? Should I call on someone? Daniel, he picked last time or no? Okay, someone pick. Joseph. Karen, Andrew, someone? Do you have anyone? Sacraments 400. Okay, here's the question. The time when a person receives the Holy Spirit. Let's say the time of the event. Do you have an answer? Timer. Anyone give an answer yet? What is baptism? Wrong. It's not baptism. Who's the right answer? When you receive the Holy Spirit? Yes. Oh, is that the right answer? It's when, okay, you know what? I'm not going to accept it. It has to do with my room, but it's not called that. What is chrismation? Chrismation is when you put the marine on the body, right? So yeah, it's so the Holy Spirit comes when the marine is put on the body, but the actual sacrament is called chrismation. All right, so not the right answer. All right, good. Okay, we'll stop there. But so again, like, what way to get kids to learn the Bible? Right? I think you're all winners, right? I would give you a prize if I was a good servant, but I'm not. So you don't get a prize. I apologize. I would have some chocolate for you. So, this is really fun. What are potential issues with playing this? Any idea? Potential issues? Yes. Pardon? Wait, I've actually stopped playing with my youth group. I've stopped playing with my youth group. They're too competitive. It gets like they're not bad, but they're just like it's too stressful because they get so competitive with it. The yell and scream, or like for example, like you accepted I didn't give you you accepted when I said no wrong answer, right? That would be a 10-minute argument, for sure, with them, right? It's chaos, chaos. So you have to know your audience, right? So yeah, we did it a few times. I'm done in a while with them because it's just too chaotic. What else? Yeah. Okay. We had a bunch of Bibles in the class, and we said that you can use your Bible once to like get the answers you needed. And we ended up putting the whole game like this is actually really nice because they were not only trying to find the right answer, like even if they didn't know they can find it, they were also like they were holding their Bible and going through. It's not a bad idea, you know. I kind of like that. You make it open book, right? I like it. Maybe I'll do that next time, right? Give them a little bit of time. Very good. You also make sure. There was a couple of times where I did this and actually had the wrong answer, where I put an answer and then I realized that it was wrong, and they'll kill you if the answer is wrong. You'll be dead, right? So you got to be very careful when you do it, and it also takes a lot of time to put it together because you have to make sure it actually does get more difficult, right? It's fun to do, but yeah, like it's a, I don't know, it's a great game. So I have this. I'll give you the actual template. You can fill in. I also have Wheel of Fortune, the Wheel of Fortune template, and I have Bible Wheel of Fortune, which is kind of fun as well. All right, but there. So just a fun little game, and it's, again, recreation. It takes away the pressure, and it's something that, again, group effort. It's a really good, it's a good time for people. I'm going to. Pardon?
I would think that people that don't have a lot of information, people at different levels of knowledge, the ones that don't have enough knowledge, like, they have to do the best.
And so this is why we have groups, right? And you put in groups together, and if someone doesn't know, they don't have to, like, no one will know they don't know, right? But they will learn by listening to the group and learning with them. So like, again, like if you don't know the answer, you can kind of hide with your group, right? And you want to have groups, like group size, 4 tends to be the highest that you want to have because after 4, people can actually hide and do nothing at all and just disappear. And you want it to be a small enough group that everyone has a voice, right? But if they don't know, they can choose to not answer that one, right? And again, there are different levels of questions, right? So those that don't know, they may be able to answer the easier questions, right? So there is a spot for everyone. I'm going to go back to, am I still am I still on Zoom? Okay, where am I? How do I stop sharing my screen again? Okay, stop sharing. I'm going to share the right screen this time again. This one. Share, and it's screen 2. When is it? This guy? But I'm not presenting yet. Play from current slide. Is the right one or no? Dang it, every time. Now what do I do? Go back to here. No, where's the one where I share from? This one here? No, but how do I stop sharing and share the right one? Escape. Stop sharing. I like the presentation mode first? Okay. We'll get there. I have one more. There we go. Here. Not. Yeah, I gotta exit this guy. Okay, now play from current, and then here, share, desktop 2. Okay, now we're good. Hold on, share. All right. Okay, thanks guys. All right, let's continue on. We talked about models of ministry a while back, if you remember. We talked about the 10 different models of ministry. We did a little activity where we all kind of summarized the different models. Remember that, right? But we talked about this. Oh, hold on a second. So this is chapter 4 and 5 in our books, right? And we talked about positive aspects of all of them, right? But then what we want to talk about today is this idea that we need a balanced design, right? So we have to balance all of our ideas into a design. And if you look in chapter 6 of Youth Ministry Design, it talks about a balanced design and what a balanced design looks like, right? And the balanced design talks about different triads, all right? I'm going to give you a few minutes now because these are kind of important. There's directional triad, developmental triad, biblical triad, maturity triad, group dynamics triad, leadership triad, and interactional triad. All right. I'm going to split you into groups again, and I'm going to give each of you one of these. And what you'll notice is it gives you, so the triad, there's 3 different parts to each of these. And then after a little reading, there's a worksheet. I'm going to give you 10 minutes, read your triad, and then fill in the worksheet. And then we're going to try to share it. All right? Make sense? Okay. So let's do the same groups. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll do, you 3 can be directional triad. You 2 can do developmental triad. All right, you 2, biblical triad. All right, you 2, maturity triad. 2, group dynamics triad. Leadership triad. And then group at home. So there's 9 at home, but can they do the interactional triad? We need someone to present interaction triad.
Interaction triad.
Yeah.
So talk to them. Tell them the online.
Yeah. So online people, if you can hear me, interactional triad. Go to chapter 6 in Youth Ministry Design, and go to it's the very last one, interactional triad. You read it. There's a couple of pages, and there's a little worksheet, and it talks about the three parts of the triad. And so we want someone just to give us a 2-minute.
Tell them to pick one representative, one person to represent them.
Okay.
To present them, otherwise you're gonna pick one.
Okay, so yeah, pick one. Yeah, there you go. So pick someone to present, or I'll pick someone for our friends at home. All right, got that? So I will give you. Right now it is 3. Let's say 3:50, 3:52. I'll give you 10 minutes. All right.
So online, I'm gonna take you now in a break room, okay? Everybody, one room. All of them now in one room.
Okay, please. Can look through it. And just so you know, everyone, with your worksheet, the 3 things that you have to answer are different for everybody. Like each triad has different triads, just so that you know. They're all different.
I have my own ministry, so that you enjoy this, like.
If you don't, that's okay. So like, what do you see as, like if you did, for example, or like from your knowledge, right? What do you see as, how do you add to that? Does that make sense or no? Like,
I don't have an experience.
okay. Do you have some? Okay, so then share with her then. There you go.
Okay.
So you use yours. All right. So when you read your triad, it talks about the unborn, the newborn, and the, for your the old born, right? So identify the gaps in your youth ministry. So what do you see based on what you read here? Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. That's good. It's okay.
Question.
Yeah.
Because there's a three parts. So there's the youth leader, so I'm assuming that would be us.
Yes.
Through the youth leadership, so is that like just having 4 or 5, the entire youth group that are, for example, doing the lesson or giving a talk or something? And then this one's just like the entire
The leadership triad, youth leadership through youth leader, youth leadership through youth leadership team. Let me look at my notes. Hold on, let me look at my book. Give me a sec. Yeah, that's what I'm going to ask you. That's what I'm going to ask you to talk about.
So what form of accountability? So like we sometimes use accountability.
You know, I put in the gaps. I wrote gaps in. So hold on. Leadership through the youth leader.
What I got from this is
Tell
that
me.
separate maybe like 4 or 5 of the people out of the entire group, and then they would give the lesson or they would lead leadership for that day. Whereas this one is the entire group that you're leading. And I feel like the issue with this one is that obviously the other kids aren't going to be happy that it's always their turn. So maybe we could rotate, like we can write that in the straight of it.
So I'll tell you how I took it, but I don't think it's the wrong answer. Like I took this as there's one individual youth leader.
Yeah.
So like I'm the same school, but then this one is there's a group of us, like, of servants. There's three, no, and then the kids is just that one. That's how I read it, but I could be wrong. That's why like I don't know if there's a different way to interpret it. Like I interpret this as there's 4 or 5 leaders that do the work on the youth, and then that is the youth. Like the youth actually being the leaders. That's how I interpreted it myself. Okay, but again, there's no wrong. Yeah, either one's fine. So yeah, if you can notice the bottom there, so like the this is like when there's just one leader.
Yeah.
The good thing about this is there's more diversity. Like so that's yeah, right. So, no? Another 4 minutes, guys, just so you know. All right, let's get started. Are you ready to go? Everyone okay? Can we start? Okay. So our first group, our directional triad. So give us a brief idea and let us know what the three things you talked about, because everyone's is different. So go ahead. Yeah, I'll give you this.
I can speak about it.
Oh, is I sharing? Okay. Just a second. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so directional triad talks about three different perspectives of the direction within the design of the ministry. So it talks about an upward direction, inward direction, and outward direction. Upward is basically just oversimplified. It's the upward relationship with God and strengthening the relationship with God, whether through prayers, praises, thanksgiving, whichever, but strengthening the relationship with God. The second one is inward, which is more around the fellowship, doing things together as a group. And again, it could be also praises, praying together, but again, it's inward to our internal spiritual part. The outward is more towards outward to the community, so it's evangelism, mission work, and getting the youth to participate in reaching out to the rest of the community.
Any gaps?
Well, I think we had a question about what the word gaps mean. Like, is it gaps in the service that we do today, or
Yeah, so I'm like if you were to look at your own service, is there anything here that you think you could do a better job in our service? Not okay.
service is perfect?
I think the upward focus should probably be a little better because most of the time the youth are excited to come to the service for their friends more than for like to make a connection with God or each other. So I think that's something we need to get better at helping them achieve that.
Helping them achieve an upward focus.
Yes.
Okay, that is, I would say one of the most important things we need to do, right? And yeah, and they come for their friends, and that's okay. But what are we doing? Thank you. Okay, developmental triads. All right.
Okay, so our triad focuses on social, emotional, and spiritual development. And they emphasize they have like for social, here they say like if there's no social, there's no laughter. If there's no emotional, there's no love. And if there's no spiritual, there's no life. So like in terms of like social, like making sure that everyone's communicating and you have like an effective program whenever you're partaking in a service is very important. Emotionally, they say that counseling is both preventative and restorative. So making sure you have that open line of communication with like the servants and like the other people within the service. And spiritual, so hosting like Bible studies, prayer meetings is also really important, and making sure that the young people are involved.
So like one gap we found in our services is that like most of the time we'll come and like they learn and then boom they're out, but there's not that much time dedicated to like meditation or learning how to do individual prayer or any of that. So we just thought of an applicable example where like we could have we can help them lead meditation prayers together as a group, but at least give them that skill to be a leader and to learn something spiritually. Okay, we're done.
We talked last week about the importance of prayer, and we'll touch on it again today, right? Like prayer and meditation is very important. Thank you. Biblical triad.
Okay, so for the biblical triad, we said that this is about the approach that we take to the Word of God. So there's 3 points. There's the proclamation of Scripture, the interaction with Scripture, and the application. So some of the problems we found with the proclamation of Scripture, so there's a lot of inaccuracies. Sometimes an example we thought of is during the lesson, sometimes us as servants, we can be a little hypocritical, where we say to the kids, pray every day, but we ourselves don't pray, or like, we tell the kids to be prepared, but yet we've only made the lesson like last night or whatever. And then the interaction with scripture. Okay, fine, half an hour before. And then for interaction with scripture, we said that there's a lot of ignorance where an example we gave was we don't allow necessarily the students to discuss some of the things that we talk about. We kind of just give the lesson, and then like at the end we just say any questions, because we're scared to allow them to challenge us or ask us questions that we don't know the answers to. We always get nervous about, like, we don't want that to happen, right? And then the application of the scripture, we said the gap is the inactivity. So where we find that the students aren't as engaged with the topics. So one suggestion we said was to, like you had said last week, to have like one goal for the whole class to focus on, and then report back at the end to show that sort of accountability of like, okay, this is what we're working towards this week, and then they have to actually show us how they've completed it, and then you yourself also do it is important too. Yeah.
Accountability, again, we are held to a higher standard, yeah? And we'll talk about that later on again. Not knowing the answer, is that okay? 100%, right? It's children will actually get much more involved if that's a question you say that is a great question. I don't know. I'll get back to you, right? That you want to engage your class, tell them you don't know the answer to their question, like, because they realize that it's a good question, right? The trick is make sure you get back to them, right? What's that? Then they ask more, and you're like, guys, I don't know, right? But it is something where it's important when they like if they ask good questions, it means that it's a good lesson, and it means that they're engaged, right? And then yeah, then at that point you talk to your father of confession, you talk to the priest, and you come back with an answer, right? It's better, and if you're not sure, it's better to say I'm not sure than to give an answer that's wrong, right? So that is super important, right? It's okay to say I don't know, or it's okay to say I'm not sure, right? There are some things, we talked about this earlier, there are some things we have to be very, very careful with when we answer questions, right? There's always three, and I forget them. The Trinity, Saint Mary, and what's the third one? There's some that, like our views are quite specific in relation to other Christianities, right? Like our view of Saint Mary is different than the Catholic view of Saint Mary, right? Our view of the Trinity is different from the view of the Trinity of the Anglicans and Protestants, right? So we have to be very careful with how we answer those questions, right? And so if someone asks a question, we have to make sure we know the answer properly, right? Again, and it's okay to say I don't know, or it's okay to say let me check, or it's okay to say I'm not sure. All right, thank you. Maturity triad.
Maturity triad. So this one caters to different stages of spiritual growth. So the book characterizes three stages. There's the unborn, the newborn, and the old born. So the unborn refers to people who are not yet Christians. And these are people who are still need to understand the relevance of the Christian faith of their life and how to become a Christian, what it even means to follow Christ. And then there's a newborn. These are people who are newly Christians. And these people are trying to understand what it means to follow Christ, this ongoing journey, even when they become Christian, and also how to grow as Christians, and also just learning about the salvation, that the assurance of salvation. And finally, there's the old born, and these are people who are more mature in their faith. They've been Christians for quite a long time, and these are people who are yet to understand the responsibility of imparting the Christian growth to other people. So going out and ministering to others. And again, what it means to follow Christ and the key doctrinal beliefs of the Christian faith. So I noticed that what it means to follow Christ is a key principle in all three stages because it's a lifelong journey. It's something we're always learning to do. And this worksheet here is actually based on the experiences of Verena and her Sunday school ministry. So she was noted for the unborn Christians. She noted that there are people who are not yet Christians that see the Sunday school ministry as more of a social activity, and they don't yet understand the relevance of Christ in their lives. So yeah, this is something that needs to be addressed for them, like to understand, like not just like it's not the Sunday school ministry, it's all understanding who Christ is and what does it mean to them. So this is something that has to be taught. And then for the newborn Christians, they have knowledge of the word, but they don't really quite understand how to apply it in their own lives. And because of that, they tend to be like inconsistent with their spiritual practices, don't really understand the importance of applying it or the potential impacts of applying the word to their own lives and what it would be, how it would cause them to grow. So, I guess they don't really understand the meaning of the word too much. And then finally, there's old burden Christians. And these people, they tend to struggle with living out the word. So they're inconsistent in their practices. They have strong knowledge of the word, they have a foundation in it, but they struggle to actually carry out on a consistent basis in a way that models well to their children or that they could kind of mimic in a way. So I guess this is something, it's a pretty common struggle I feel with old born Christians, but like, yeah, it's a matter of just, I think it's just growing in that discipline in the faith. Yeah.
The idea, the old one, the idea of there's no finish line, right? You've never reached spiritual maturity. You're always working for the next level, right? And again, this is written in a Protestant perspective, right? So the idea of an unborn is someone who's not saved. But we can take it easily and work in our Coptic faith because there are kids who, again, we talked about this earlier, who have been baptized when they were 40 days old. But where are they in their journey? Right? And we talked about our community, our coming, our community, and our commission, right? Where are they in that journey? Even though they're baptized, is Christ theirs or not yet? And so perfect. You touched upon that very well. So keep that in mind. Thank you. Group dynamic.
So the group dynamics triad basically discusses the three different types of group settings that or group dynamics that could service could take place in. So there's large group dynamics, which basically focuses on having a large group of people in a certain place and doing something interactive with in a large group setting. And so this gives the youth the ability to feel like they belong and they can identify with others. And so, especially at an age where they sometimes feel like their thoughts are their own and no one else can relate to them, being in a large group setting could help with that. And then there's the small group dynamics, which is in a more like close setting with the adolescents. And here the youth can feel like they're accepted and there's a larger opportunity to be able to contribute and to have your voice heard, as opposed to the large group setting where it's more of like a mesh of everyone. And then the final one is the individual dynamics, and this covers the one-to-one with the either with the servant to the youth or the youth with each other. And this makes them feel valuable and cared for. And so mapping these three dynamics back to our service, I think we do a good job of small and large group, with small group being like the most consistent one, which is basically every Sunday school lesson. And so we think we do small group well, and large group also, like we usually have like conventions, activities with larger groups of people combining Sunday school classes. So there's always that sense of belonging. And then we said what we could contribute more to is the individual dynamics, where right now that's kind of confined to just like outreach. But we could probably be more proactive in reaching out to the youth, basically, like if someone doesn't show up in class, maybe following up with them to make them feel like their absence was noticed and that they're valuable. And so, aside from just the the outreach that we do on a like very sometimes irregular basis, we can help them feel more cared for and valuable by reaching out to them more often.
The individual is super important. It's so important, and we do. You're right. We don't do the best job of it. At chapel, where I am, Father Max every Sunday, like the chapel's full, and he every Sunday at the end he stops and says, "Who's here for the first time?" And people put their hand up, and then we clap, right? But that is a large group. But all of a sudden, there's individuals. There's an individual activity where that person feels special, and they're there for the first time, and they're acknowledged, right? And then in Sunday school, we tried something, and in our youth group, where every week one of the youth would think of someone who wasn't there, and they send them a text. Where were you this week? We haven't seen you, right? And again, building individual dynamics into a group is very, very important, because it shows, again, like imagine you're in a group and you don't go for 3 or 4 weeks and no one checks, right? No one cares about me. It doesn't matter. I'm not going back, right? Where that text, and even if they know, because all the youth know that I'm saying, you text this person and you text that person and you text that person, they're still getting that message, and it's still individual, right? Keep that in mind. It's an important thing.
Yes. So our leadership tribe there's 3 parts to it. There's leadership through the youth leader, there's leadership through youth leadership team, and then young people. For the gaps, for the youth leader, we said it's just going to be one person and one input, so the youth would not have a voice. For the gaps for the youth leadership team, we said that there's going to be a lack of relatability. And with too many people, you might have a lack of unity and you might end up confusing the youth instead. And then for leadership through young people, we said that it's going to be self-led, so it's going to lack direction and they might not have enough knowledge. So for those points for the youth leader, I feel like a good way to combat that and kind of take away that gap is to have the youth actually involved with you. If you're a youth leadership team, same thing, you would just try to involve the youth while making the lesson, or you could ask them about what they think of the lesson and give input for the next one. And then for the young people, I feel like you could maybe split up the lesson, you give them the topic, and then they actually carry the lesson through, or vice versa. They give you the topic, you start them off, and then they get to finish it. That way they actually feel involved.
Yeah, we talked about this earlier. Having the youth do the lesson is super important, right? Because it gets them involved and they listen to each other more than they listen to us, right? So again, like I've done it as young as grade 4, where I've had kids like in grade 4 give the lesson. I help them, but they give it, right? And then in youth, again, like I think we're on a 6-week schedule where every 6th week, 2 youth give the lesson, right? And we just go through that and it gets them involved. Interactional triad. Who's our speaker from home? Uh-oh, no volunteers. I'm not going to pick someone. I said I would, but I'm not going to. Anyone want to speak? It's back on again. No volunteers from home? Interactional triad? No? Okay, that's fine. So the interactional triad really quickly, the 3 triads are parents, the wider church, and other youth groups, right? And so it's the interaction with the service and those 3 activities, right? So what is the interaction with the youth group and parents? And we spoke about that earlier, right? What are we doing to involve parents in the youth group, right? We talked about having parent nights, involving parents, trying to find ways to get them involved. Interaction with the wider church, right? Like what is our link to the church, right? And again, we talked about Sunday school being a microcosm of the church, right? It's a mini church. It's the way that we run it. And then other youth groups, do we get involved with other youth groups? So like, do we do trips to other churches? And we do a good job of this actually, right? And when I look through this again, like I think our biggest gap is with parents. We don't do a good enough job of involving parents with our service. That's the one where we really should be doing more. We do a good job of like in the summer with Maharagan, all the churches are involved, right? We do trips to other churches. We do retreats. We invite other youth to come to retreats. It's very good, but we do have to do work on the parent one. All right. Those are my notes for the last one. Okay, what time is it? We're going to move to creative ministry. Let's take a 5-minute break. All right, go outside, run a little bit, go for a little walk, and then come back and do some creative stuff, and we'll go from there. All right. All right. Creative ministry. We want to spend a few minutes on this. We're going to have a little bit of fun with creative ministry, if you don't mind. So creative ministry, it's a different way of doing Sunday school, a different way of teaching and learning, right? And creative ministry, you can read about it, right? It talks about the importance of it. What I want to say is we're trying to reach all of our kids. We're trying to reach all of the students in our classes. Remember we talked about the community, the committee, the commission, right? There are those in our Sunday school classes who are creative by nature. And what are we doing to help them with their outlet? What are we doing to help include those who are creative, right? We tend to be, I'm going to make a vast generalization, but in our culture, we're all very math and science based, right? But what are we doing for the creative outlet, and what are we doing to help our creative kids or help with our creative side, right? And so there are ways to teach ministry through a creative way. There's a list on 133: drama, sound, lighting, painting, videos, creative writing, photography, instrumental music, puppetry, sculpture, audiovisuals, poetry, presentations, band, choir, clowning, dance, banners, graphic design. All of those are creative ministry. I think PowerPoint is not really creative. I'm taking that one away because that's just what we do, right? But what are some different creative ways we can teach Sunday school? And we're going to do one today. I'm going to put you in groups of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sure, we'll do groups of 4. People at home are going to have to kind of watch because they can't really do this. So let's say 1, 2, 3, 4 are group 1. 1, 2. Someone else coming or no? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Anyone here a drama person? Drama? Know about drama? Heard of a tableau? Tableau, what's a tableau? It is a French word. Any idea? A tableau is a still frame or a picture. All right. So a tableau is a moment in time. All right. So we're going to do human tableaus. All right. I'm going to give you two Bible verses. Actually, how many? We have four groups. 1, 2, 3. No, I'll give you one. I'll just give you one. I'm going to give you 10 minutes. You're going to read the verse and you're going to create a tableau that people have to guess what the scene is. So you're creating a scene. You can use anything in the room. You're going to come up here, all right, and you're going to do it. So talk about it. Don't share what it is with people. So don't give them the answer, right? And so the idea is that there's a scene. You've taken a picture, and the picture is going to describe what the story is. Get the idea? Understand? The props are anything in this room. Okay, and the other people are going to have to try to guess what the story is. All right. So you're so the idea of tableau is you have to have very exaggerated features. So if you're smiling, this isn't a smile. A smile is very exaggerated, so people know you're smiling. If you're scared, it has to be a very, very scared face. People know that you're scared. Right? Get the idea? That's what the tableau is. All right? And we're going to see if we can guess what your story is. And people at home can play the game as well. We'll show them the tableaus and they can try to figure out what it is. So I'm going to give you a sheet of paper and give you 10 minutes, maybe a little longer. We'll see how it goes. Pick one. Uh, wrong group. No, I haven't. Pick one. How many? Wait, are there four groups? Are there three groups or four groups? Are you three? That's fine. Okay, that should be good enough. All right. Go ahead. No, I haven't. I wanted to though. What? Do they really? Oh no way! That's cool. No, I had no idea. You go next one. Which one you have? Cool. Okay. I want to hear which one. Yeah, no, I know which one it is. Yeah, I want to listen. Okay. I'm coming. Hold on. Whatever you think will best have them guess what it is. There's only one scene. All right. No, your voice is taking a hit. All right, who wants to go first? Anyone want to go first? Okay, go ahead. Ready? Hold on a second. So you want to come up here? Or are you going to stay there? You decide. Up to you. Opposite. All three opposite. Okay. Do they need to? Do they need to come over here? Like, which way are you facing? So you guys come over here to take a look. All right. We'll come over here. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let us know when you're ready. Okay. Oh. All right. There it is. What is it, guys? What do you think? Pool of Bethesda. Nice. Good job. I mean, you killed it. Oh, good job. All right. We had so carrying the bed, the angel stirring the water, someone diving in. Jesus. Obviously, one left. Jesus. Excellent. Okay, Pool of Bethesda. Great job. Amazing. Okay, who's next? Go next? Okay, go ahead. Okay, where are you going to be? Okay, go ahead. That's fine. So should they be, does it matter which way they're facing? Okay, so I'm going to see if I can go over there as well. Hold on a second. Okay, let us know when you're ready. Okay. So, wait, how'd you get that? Oh, the well. So what are you guys? Oh, you're talking. Oh, whispering bad about them. Oh, the gossiping. That's a great one. Ah, gossiping about the Samaritan woman. Excellent. All right. Okay. Final group. Okay. Get your props. No, no. Oh. They're not fighting. You have to look angrier. Yeah. So prodigal son. You see it? Prodigal son. So he's putting the cloak on, and the older brother. You didn't say you were a guy. You should have said that. You should have said that the older brother. Okay. Um, Certainly something. Yep. Okay. Thank you. All right. Okay. Now, oh, okay. Yeah, I'll take those back. Okay. I have a question for you now. Talk amongst yourselves. Here's a question I'm going to ask you. Two questions. What do the three stories have in common? And what stories are missing? Go. What do the three stories have in common? And what stories are missing? Who didn't give me theirs? Let's do that one. You have an answer? Okay, hold on a second. Give me 1 minute. Give me 1 second. Okay. Hold on. Do we have answers or not yet? When you have an answer, put your hand up. When you have an answer, put your hand up. What do they have in common? And what stories are missing? When you have an answer, put your hand up. So which stories are missing? What do the three have in common and what stories are missing? Okay, hold on. Okay, in the back. Yes. No. I think you have a second. We had the prodigal son, we had Pool of Bethesda, we had Samaritan woman. They're all they're from the weeks of Lent. What stories are missing? Man born blind, treasures in heaven, one more, temptation of Christ. Right? So, if you want to teach, I just find this to be a really cool, I've done this with the kids and it's amazing. They will not forget the weeks of Lent anymore. Right? They never will because of this activity. Right? If we had more groups, so I only had, yeah, I think I was missing treasures in heaven. I didn't have that one in here, but I had the temptation of Christ, and I had which other one was missing? Oh, the man born blind. So I had that one as well. So that it's a great creative way of teaching the weeks of Lent, and again, you can find other ways as well, right? So yeah, it's fun little creative way of doing something. A good teacher friend of mine is a drama teacher, and she gave me this idea, so it's kind of cool. Okay, I'll share my screen again. Give me 1 second. Share. Stop two. Okay, good. Awesome. Okay, I'm getting it now. I'm figuring it out. All right. Seeking the lost. So the idea of seeking the lost, evangelism, just really quickly talking about the idea of how do we seek the lost and how do we teach our kids to seek the lost. We talked last week about prayer, right, and the importance of prayer. And then what are we doing in youth ministry to help our kids evangelize? What are we doing in ministry to help the kids in our class reach out to other kids? Because they are our strongest advocates when it comes to bringing the lost to the service. It's known, stats show that as they get older, as our kids get older, it's harder and harder to bring them to Christ or harder to bring them back to Christ, right? That all the stats show that when they're younger, they're much more receptive and much more able. But as they get older, there comes a time when it gets much more difficult to bring them back. And what are we doing to help our kids, our youth, help bring other kids, right? And we talked about the idea of, every week we look at our kids, we look at our list and say, who's not here, right? And having youth reach out to youth is very powerful, right? And again, even if they know it's prescribed, like even if they know, right? We know that the servant told us to text you and say, but that's okay. They're still being reached out to and can still cause a conversation, right? So it's very important, right? We're working with a group that is rapidly losing the openness to the gospel that seems to exist in children, right? So what are we doing to make sure that we keep them engaged, right? What activities are we doing to keep them engaged, right? Hold on a second. In youth ministry programming, page 71, sorry, page 69. There's this idea of how to help kids find their style of ministry or their style of evangelism, right? So it talks about different styles and different approaches of evangelism because we're all different and we all have different personalities. And which way do we best evangelize, right? And there are different ways, and we can tell a child, here's how you evangelize, because their style may be different than mine. All right. So I'm going to ask you, just to give you a quick read, I'll give you just 2 minutes. Well, I'll give you 5 minutes, but look at the difference, different styles. And what I want you to do as you're reading through them, just think about yourself. I'm not going to ask you to answer, but which of these best describes your style of evangelism? All right. So I'll give you 5 minutes. Give it a read. It's kind of cool. All right. Go ahead. Them, right? And just kind of it helps because we have to help them understand their role, right? It is very important when we're talking about bringing them up that pyramid, right? Evangelism is part of that, right? What are they doing to encourage others to come, right? If you're just one servant or two servants in a group of 30 kids, how much more powerful is it if the kids are reaching out to kids that aren't there, right? Super important. So just give that an idea. It's something you can do in a service one day or in one of your classes to go through the different ones and have kids kind of self-identify where they are in that. Something to think about. All right. I'm rushing along because I'll have one more activity before we call it a day. Christian camp. So the book makes reference to camping. Again, this is written like in a Protestant American way, and they emphasize camping. There's a whole chapter on the importance of camping and why it's so important to camp. I don't see it myself, You know, I have camped. I've camped with my family. We have the valley. We've taken kids there. Is that the same as camping? I don't know. But instead of Christian camp, how about just Christian retreat? What are we doing for retreat? Are we taking the kids away for a certain amount of time with a theme that we're helping them to grow in, right? And the idea of a Christian camp or Christian retreat is mainly about fellowship, right? We're growing together as a group, right? And you know, is it like, you know, in St. Mary's here, like, you know, we're big enough that we as a St. Mary's group can do our own camp, right? My group at chapel, like my youth group is maybe 10 kids, 15 kids. So we will invite other churches and we'll go to the valley and we'll have 2 or 3 churches together to build a relationship, right? But it's super important. Again, camping itself. Has anyone here ever done like a camp, proper camping, like intense and things? How was it? Cold? Cold? Yeah. Yeah. And tell us. Uh-huh. Yeah. So my family has done it. We would do it once a year, but I've never actually done camping with my youth group because like camping with my family takes so much preparation. I haven't had I haven't, I'm like, I don't know, I haven't, we've done the valley, but like proper camping, we've never done with our youth. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. And we've done it the valley. So we'll do the valley once, you know, once or twice a year. Right? Twice a year we'll do the valley, or we'll do the monastery, right? And again, like that does have the outdoor component, but at the end of the day, you're not in the tent, right? And the food's provided. So, but no, again, I don't know if it's better. Like I don't know. Like there's something to be said about camping where you know they're making their own food and they're bringing their own supplies and all that stuff. We've never done it. Um, I'm sure it has, like, you know, when it comes to fellowship and building community, it's probably amazing. I've never experienced it through, like, again, I have in my personal with my family. I never have in Sunday school or in church. So just something to think about, right? But it is very, very important to do retreats. Super important. It has to be part of your service, right? It builds community. And again, like something to be out in nature, the whole idea of be still and know that I am God, right? Or, you know, seeing God in nature is very important. All right. I just wanted to talk about that briefly because it is something that we need to do. We're going to do one last activity. That'll take us a little bit of time. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a lesson. I'm going to give you, I'm going to say in groups of 2. I want you to do a lesson. And I'll give you the topic. And I'll give you 10 minutes to do a very quick mini lesson. And we have to make sure that you incorporate the hook, the book, the look, and the took. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give out sheets of paper so that people who are watching can fill in. And it just says, all this says is look, book, hook, and took. And so I'm going to give you each one a few of these. And as people present their mini lesson, I'm going to present it in 5 minutes, not more than that. People are going to write down if they can figure out what your look, book, hook, and took is. Got it? So what I'm asking for in your lesson is this. All right? And it's going to be very quick. So we're going to try to do it quickly. So I'll give you, again, groups of 2. I'll give you a lesson. So what I'm giving you is a topic and a grade. All right? A topic and a grade. All right? So how would you teach this lesson to a grade 1? Someone else may have that same lesson, but for a grade 12. How will they differ? Get the idea? So groups of 2, what we'll do, so you 2 can be together. I'll have you move back over there. So 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. All right, and then people at home, they can, we'll have to give them something to choose as well. All right, but hold on. So yes, and then we can give them topics. Trying to separate these the best I can. Here you go. Pick one. Too late now, you've decided. I haven't separated them very well. Hold on a second. Did you see them or no? Don't look. Don't look. Here. I use cardstock so you can't cheat. Oh. To be two of them here. Oh, you get to pick one then, I guess. Look at that. So you sort of cheated. Oh. Best for last. Here you go. I should have started from the back this time. I didn't. Oh, well. Yeah, choose one. So break them into groups of two, and then and they're not going to present. They can actually maybe just put it in the chat or something. So you can give them each one of these ones. Decide which one they're going to do. Okay, I'm going to give you 10 minutes. All right. So, what do you guys get? Oh, okay. If I play video, my audio will work, right? If I play video, my audio will work. Hey. Have your attention, let's start. So basically, just to be clear, you can either, if you can do the lesson in under 5 minutes, that's fine. But if you want to explain the concept of the lesson in that 5 minutes, that's also fine. So you either give the lesson or explain the concept of the lesson. Get the idea? Either one. All right? You make it easier? I should have made that clear. Okay. All right. Let's go with our first group. So I'll ask you to give the lesson and the grade. Okay. All right. Stand up and come. Okay. Have your attention, everyone. Okay.
Okay.
First group. Go ahead.
So our lesson is about the Good Samaritan, and the grade is grade 1. So, do you want us to explain how we would do the lesson, or just do it? Okay, let's just do. We'll explain how we do it. So our hook would be, we would ask the students, since they're little, we'll ask them, if you see your friend in the playground hurt, what would you do? We would hope to get an answer of, oh, it helped them, it's our friends, that sort of thing. And then we would move on to our question of, if this person wasn't your friend and you've seen them in class, what do you think you would do? Would you be as willing to go help them out, or would you stand their side? What would you do? Go get help? What would you do? So just to get their idea, like their mind on the topic of
Or
helping.
I think also one other way we could go is that we can kind of act it out as servants, where, for example, one servant here drops something or complains about how maybe she has a headache or something, and I go to her and ask her, hey, are you okay? So and so and so, and then kind of build on that and ask the kids what they thought of that when we did that. and the book is Luke 10. That's the chapter that we found the story from, specifically from verse 25 to 37. And the look is, so the story starts by a man asking God how to get into the kingdom of heaven. And that's how Jesus starts answering the question, is by saying that, telling the story. And then I think here, verse 27. So verse 27. So the story starts from verse 25 until verse 37. But when we come to verse 27, it says, "But Jesus looked at them and said," is that the right one?
No.
Okay.
Okay. So the man asks Jesus, "How do I get into the kingdom of heaven?" And the man Jesus asks him, do you read the scripture? How would you say? And we would read, so he answered and said, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength, and with all your mind, and your neighbor as yourself." And then the man continues to ask, "Who's my neighbor?" And then we go into the parable of the Good Samaritan. And the idea would be like, we need to be neighborly to everyone and treat everybody with love, and not just the people we consider our friends.
And then that pretty much would be the tuk as well. That's how we would want them to go and kind of treat everybody at school, or their siblings, their neighbors, the people that they spend most of their time with, or their friends in Sunday school or Bible study. And we would probably ask them the same question that we asked in the hook phase of the Bible, to see if their answer or perspective have changed after we went through the lesson. That's it. Okay. Okay, so our story was the angel Gabriel visits Zacharias. So basically
For grade 12.
oh sorry, yeah, for grade 12. So then what we decided on the structure for our lesson to be is that we would just simply give a summary of the story, have them read the passage and then summarize it. And then we would go into giving practical examples of how this can be applied in our lives. So for example, we had the idea of making all the kids stay silent for like a minute and then be like, "Oh, how would you feel?" My brain just forgot everything.
It's okay. So basically, so Gloria would start off asking them a question about like, how often do you feel like you're praying to God and like he's just not listening or he just doesn't care or any of that? And then we would start explaining, so like read the passage together, which is Luke 1:5, 2 to 20, verses 2 to 20, and talk about how Zacharias was in the temple praying, and then angel Gabriel appeared to him and told him that even though his wife Elizabeth is very old, that she would bear a child and they would name him John. And so Zacharias doubted Gabriel and asked him, how could this be? And so Gabriel punished him and made sure he couldn't speak until Elizabeth fell pregnant. So then we were gonna do the activity of making the kids be silent. And what was the question we were gonna ask after?
Like uh
Why do you think God, um, why do you think God,
made him mute until the promise was fulfilled. Like, how would you feel if that happened to you? And then
especially knowing that like in this case, technically it's impossible. So how would you feel if like God kind of made the impossible possible? And then do our tuks. You have the tuks. Go ahead.
No, cool. This is it.
Start with this one.
Go ahead.
Okay. God's plan is always better than ours. God always answers our prayers, and
Faith and
talking about faith and trust. And like we have notes on it and stuff, but like we get, I think everyone understands.
Why did she that last Friday? Zacharias temple. Why did she that today? I wrote
Was it,
five.
was it in the gospel?
It's his gospel.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it's his gospel. Yeah, the other one, that was today's because.
Just bring this.
Okay, so our story is also the Good Samaritan, but it's grade 8. Okay, so.
Are you okay? Are you okay, my
Oh,
dear?
thank you. Oh, God bless your heart. Thank you. Okay, so that is our hook to kind of draw people in and the kids in, and then we would ask them, have you had anyone, done anything nice to you, like that? Or has there ever been a situation where you've had someone do something nice to you? And then we would ask them to think of a Bible passage that relates to what we kind of just did. And so hopefully they would say the Good Samaritan. And then that's
And
when.
then from the book perspective, we'll go through the passage itself and read the story. And the look would be to just go over practical applications of this in their day-to-day life. And then we'll encourage them into a talk.
Well, yeah, so what we want them to take away is at the end it says, so the same Bible verse or same chapter is Luke 10:25-37. But 36 and 37 is what we would focus on. So it says, which of these three do you think was a neighbor to the man who fell into the hands of the robbers? So the story goes that there's three people that walk by, and then the third person was the Samaritan was the one who helped. And so the expert in the laws replied, the one who had mercy on him. So we're focusing on the word mercy there in the, that's kind of the look there. And then the took would be just that how can we show mercy?
In their
And
day-to-day life and what other things in school, similar to what you guys did.
yeah,
Bullying situations and things like that.
yeah, and we try to like apply it to their own life. Yeah, yeah, thank you. Good job. Good job. Okay. Okay. You guys?
Okay, so we got the chapter of Angel Gabriel visiting Zacharias, and we got grade ones. So our hook would be usually this age group doesn't have a strong attention span, so we would do like a play with the costumes because there's the costume room downstairs, and then uh, it, we would try to show them who Zacharias is and who is Angel Gabriel and what's happening so that they can have a visual representation first. And then we'll go through the actual Luke 1, 11 to 22 kind of part. But instead of reading it to them, because it's a very, like, there's a lot of hard words in the chapter, so I would try to make it a kid-friendly way of explaining it to them. Yeah, and then look.
Yeah, look is pretty much asking questions like who was Zacharias? I mean, why did the angel visit Zacharias? What was he praying for? What was the impossible thing that Zacharias was asking for? And even what did you notice about Zacharias? Was he in doubt? And how did the angel's promise come to pass later on? What do you guys think? And then I think the took is because um, I think because they're so young, the whole concept of trusting God. I mean, I think they're still at the age where they're still trying to wrap their heads around like who God is or what God is, and trusting in this divine entity. So I think they have to have a smaller stepping stone, which is their parents, which is supposed to model the relationship with God. The parents are supposed to be like a model with the relationship with God. So the trust is that the took is more a message of trust. So sometimes the parents ask them to do things they don't quite understand. But they have to trust that the parents knows what's in their best interest and they have the best intentions in mind of when they should receive things. And even though they don't understand things at the time, they will understand later on. They will come to see what it meant. So I think it's just about trust. Yeah.
That's why I know it's very
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah, you may understand it, but like it's for a good reason. So trust with your parents. Yeah. Thank you.
So our lesson is about patience for grade 8. And the hook that we wanted to start with, to ask the kids, okay, do you know who invented the light bulb? And then they know that's Thomas Edison. And then they know, we asked them, how many times do you think he has been trying until he actually figured out how to make it? And then they say, oh, like, we don't know. They say maybe some of them know, maybe some of them do not know, but like, it's thousand. And then he was able to find to like actually invented after this. And we say, okay, so like, you see, he has been trying a lot, and he decided not to give up, and he was very patient. He knew that at a certain point he would be able to invent it. And then from there we asked, do you know who else was that patient in the Bible? Some people might say Job, some people might say Joseph, maybe other stories, and then we can dive deeper more into certain characters and their stories, and then we can read it and just go over it.
Yeah, so for the book, we were thinking of tying it back to a story that shows resilience and long suffering and patience. And Job is one of them that stands out immediately to a lot of us. So we could explain how Job was a very wealthy man, and he followed the will of God and was righteous. He fed the poor and had many possessions and did nothing wrong in the sight of God. And yet, even so, many troubles came upon him. And if we look at Job chapter 3, verse 26, it says, Job saying, I was not in safety, neither had I rest, neither was I quiet, yet trouble came. And so we could delve deeper into that and into all of his sufferings, and maybe provoke the thought that, well, this is not fair. Why would God do something like that? And then tie it back to the end of the story where God compensated Job, and he was given multiple, even more than what he used to have. So in Job chapter 26, verse 12, it says, or yeah, chapter 42, verse 12, it says, now the Lord blessed the latter days of Job more than his beginning, for he had 14,000 sheep, 6,000 camels, 1,000 yoke of oxen, and 1,000 female donkeys. He also had seven sons and 3 daughters. And so we could tie it into like the full picture, and even when it seems like things aren't going the way they're supposed to be going, and if you're going through many hardships, if you follow the will of God and follow in His way, in the end, everything will turn out okay. And then in the New Testament, James chapter 5, verse 10 to 11 reflects on this a little bit. He says, my brethren, take the prophets who spoke in the name of the Lord as an example of suffering and patience. Indeed, we count them blessed who endure. You have heard of the perseverance of Job and seen the end intended by the Lord, that the Lord is very compassionate and merciful. So it kind of ties everything all together and sets us up for the took.
So as we said, like that, this could be pretty much our took, and then just going back over it, like if you're having a lot of troubles in your life and cannot find out the solution to everything, but you're doing your best and you're patient, you have to be rest assured that God is working to deliver you in the right time, because His plan is the best. And then we can just go over more examples for them. For example, if they're trying to learn a new sport or learn a new instrument, you have to be patient, you have to put in the work, you have to try everything, and over time you're going to get better and better. And yeah, I think this is something that a lot of grade eights might be struggling with. Also when they're studying for an exam, and or like a certain course that is tough for them and they're not seeing the results that they wanted, as long as they're doing their best, and they're rest assured that God will deliver them and give them the best like results at the end. Yeah.
Okay, so our story was about Angel Gabriel visiting Zacharias, and it's a lesson given to grade eights. So, how would you guys, no, wrong question.
How many of you guys like to talk? I know I do.
So this passage is from Luke 1, 5 to 20. And it's basically where Angel Gabriel appears to Zacharias and tells him that his prayers have been answered and that his wife Elizabeth is going to give birth to a son named John. And his first response was to say, like, how could this be? Like, she's very old. How is this possible? So there we could see that he immediately doubted. That was his first response. And Angel Gabriel's response to that was that he's going to be mute until Elizabeth gives birth. And this was very significant because it really shows that there's a lot of power in the tongue, and he could have done a lot of damage just by, like, if he continued to have the ability to speak throughout the pregnancy, he could have done a lot of damage there just because he's complaining or doubting God's plan. And so this ended up being better for him to just not be able to speak. And then he finally got his voice back, not immediately after Elizabeth gave birth, but when he actually admitted that his son's name will be John. And that's also significant because it shows that he's willing to finally align himself and submit to God's plan, and he's like in agreement with God. That's when he finally got his voice back.
And for the tuk, we have 3 lessons that we got out of this. So first off is to not doubt God's ability. If you prayed for something, know that He will deliver you through it. Second off is to watch what you're saying because there's power in the tongue. So if you're sitting here and you're complaining all the time, that's like you should be watching that. I know if I lost my voice, first thing I'm gonna be like, okay, what was the last thing I said? I'm gonna revert back to like trying to think like, why did I get myself in this? And then third off is to know how to receive the things that you prayed for. So Zacharias was praying for this so hard, but then when he actually got it, he didn't know what to do with it, and then he ended up doing all the wrong things. So to know how to receive the things that you, yeah, so listen.
Let me share my screen. One of my favorite verses is in this story, when Gabriel says, "I am Gabriel who stands in the presence of God." I think it was Abuna Joseph, before he was a priest, was talking to us about that meditation and the idea that before Christ we weren't in the presence of God, and now we are. And like, so when I've done this lesson with the very little kids, I've taken the Gabriel out and put their name, right? I am Tamer, who stands in the presence of God. What does that mean, right? What does it mean that I'm actually in the presence of God? How do I behave? How do I act, right? I love that story. Okay, let me share my screen. I want to just do one more thing before we wrap up. Why is this different? Okay, hold on a second. Share. Okay, am I sharing? Oh, I have to press share. Hold on. How about now? Okay, good. All right. So we've gone through a lot. We've talked about how to prepare. What we did today, this is an idea, like you rushed through and I made you do it very quickly. But what you essentially did was you created a lesson skeleton. What you gave us was a skeleton, right? So when you're given a topic, right, and if you use like the suscops, whatever you use to create your lessons, Children of the Light is actually excellent. The Children of the Light curriculum, if you've ever seen it, they actually have a hook built right into the lesson. They have activities you can do with the kids. It's called Children of the Light. So suscops has 2 different curriculums. They have the legacy curriculum, which is the old one, and they have a new one, which is based on modules. And the way it's designed is excellent. But what I'm going to tell you is when you want to use someone else's curriculum, I wouldn't use it exactly the way it is. Make sure to always put yourself into that curriculum somehow. Make it your own, right? So read through it, look at the examples, look at what they give, take what you want from it, but I wouldn't use it exactly the way it is because you have to make sure that you infuse yourself into that lesson somehow. All right, super important. And when you're creating lessons and creating, because we're talking about curriculum creation, when you're creating curriculum, create it as if someone's going to give it the way it is, but make sure to leave space for people to infuse themselves into the lessons. All right, and I want to end with one video, and I hope it works. So this is from Francis Chan. Anyone know who Francis Chan is? He's Protestant, but he's excellent. We talked about Old Testament and using the Old Testament, and we do a good job of New Testament, and I feel like we don't often use the Old Testament enough in our teaching, and there's some very valuable lessons in the Old Testament. All right. This is one of my favorites from him. And he talks about from the book of Malachi, chapter 1. And just to set a precedent of what he's talking about, in Malachi chapter 1, it talks about how they're giving sacrifices to God, but originally God said, "Give the best, right? Give the best lamb, the best the best sacrifice. Take that, give that to God." But the Israelites fell into a situation where they weren't giving the best; they were giving the throwaways, or what wasn't the best to God. All right, and he uses that to teach a lesson. So I want you to watch this. All right.
Because I realized, see, all my life, I was brought up in a youth group. I got saved in high school. And I remember my youth pastor used to just beg us to show up to youth group. And then when it came time for singing, he would beg us, please, someone sing. Come on, louder. How about the boys against girls?
Sound familiar?
Sing louder. And when we finally sang, he'd be like, good. And so I had this impression that God was in heaven going, come on, please, just give me anything. I'll take anything. Because that was kind of what I saw. Then you read in scripture, Jesus, God himself here is going, that's all you got for me? Would you do that for your governor? Would you even give that to another human being? And you're going to give me that. And it was at that day I was like, God, I don't want to give you my leftovers. Whatever's the best, I want to give you the best, because so often with our time, our finances, you know, I brought some chicken with me. Okay? But this is what we do, okay? Whether it's our time or our finances, let's say this is our finances, you go, oh, Lord, thank you. And what do? We go, well, I got to pay my mortgage. And then, oh, I got my car payment, I got to pay for that. I started thinking, got to eat, got to have life insurance, I got to have retirement, cable TV, go to the movies, eat out, go on and on and on with everything you want to do. But you keep taking bites of whatever you want first. And then once you're all done, you're going, here, Lord. And now that's crazy. But the crazier part is many people actually believe that God's in heaven going, oh, cool. Good. There's still some meat on that. That's what the priest in Malachi's day thought. Let's just spend on ourselves. Let's do what we want. If I have a little bit left over in my pocket, I'll give it to God. We do that with our time. Invest all this time into our work, our families, not bad things. This is our entertainment, this, that, and it's like, oh, I got 2 minutes right before I fall asleep, I'll pray. And we think God's in heaven going, oh, what an angel. See, that's what these people were thinking, and God's going, are you kidding me? You won't even give that to another human being, and you're going to bring that before Almighty God. But here's the verse that really hit me, was the next verse.
It's okay, don't worry about it. It's sorry, hold on a second. He's very good at making us feel bad, but it's excellent. Like I love this verse, or I love like his little passage there. We as servants, I just want to end with, it is a high note. We as servants are held to a higher standard. Our very first day we talked about that. We're held to a higher standard, and we need to give our best to God. And I want to end with just two things, right? Number one is we're held to a higher standard. We give our best to God, right? Like our service, and I'll be the first to admit that there are many Saturday nights where I'm doing my lesson for Sunday, right? Where I should be doing a better job, right? We do really want to give our best to God. And we want to try our best to really prepare before that, knowing that God will lead us. The other thing I want us to be careful about is the devil is very crafty, right? And the devil is great at building pride into what we do, right? I am a great servant. I am very good at what I do. And understand that God doesn't need us, right? It's the other way around. We need God, and that's why we serve, right? Everything we do is through the grace of God, right? I am a tool in God's hand, and I ask Him to help me with my lessons, help me with my service, with my preparation, and help me with my kids, right? So just keep that in mind, because sometimes we fall into the idea of pride in service, and that we're doing God a favor by serving Him, right? When it really is the opposite. We only just take, right? And we take more than we give always, right? And it's a blessing to serve, right? So just keep that in mind. I really like that, and I just wanted to end with this idea that we have to give our best always, knowing that God will fulfill and do the rest, right? Because what we have is not enough. It's never enough, right? It's through the grace of God that we do what we do, right? So thanks everyone. We're done. It was a fun 4 weeks. All right. So you have my email. I'm going to put in the chat. I'll put this lesson in the chat for you, so you'll have it. And also put in the Jeopardy. I'll give that to you guys so you have it as well. And again, I think I have Wheel of Fortune as well. I'll put that template in as well. All right. Yes.
Just to clarify, so, is there any other actions they could take to?
We're done. Yep. You've all passed the module. How's that? Yes. Yes. You've all this little thing here was your little test. Requirements are fulfilled. Done it all. All right. Thanks, guys. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.